Well, just call on me, brother, when you need a friend. We all need somebody to lean on. Well, I might have a problem that you understand. We all need somebody to lean on. That was a little bit inspired by card number 33, which is Call on a Friend. This is John Paulas, and you're listening to Life's Potluck Buffet. I really like this card because it uses a different technique to kind of think about your strengths going forward. Let me read you the prompt. Ask someone present to say what they perceive your strengths to be, and if they would be willing for you to say what you think their strengths are. If there's no one present, talk to a friend when you have a moment. I came up with this idea in an exercise a few years back, and I was inspired by an interesting phenomenon. I don't know if you've read about this before or heard about it, but art experts can tell when something is a self-portrait by looking at the eyes of the subject in the painting. And that was a very interesting idea to me when I first learned about it. And I noticed that there's a difference when you take a selfie from when someone takes a picture of you. Someone else takes a picture of you. And that follows the same, I think, idea of the self-portrait phenomenon. And it's interesting because that the fact that you're looking at someone, the fact that that makes a difference that you're looking at someone in itself is an important thing to consider. That you look at others in different ways than you look at yourself. And it's not just a matter of you're looking in a mirror because you're doing a self-portrait. Not at all. Because you're looking at a camera when you do a selfie in the same way you're looking at a camera when someone takes a picture of you, but you look at it differently, whether you're holding the camera or someone else is holding the camera. And I looked at two images taken, one in London when I had snuck into a place in the University of London where what is called the auto icon of Jeremy Bentham is located. We were doing a project at the time about selfies, and I thought, oh, this is a great opportunity to do a selfie with Jeremy Bentham, who died several centuries ago, and who asked them to preserve his body upon his death and put him in the college somewhere. They kind of botched the job, so they ended up making a kind of wax model, and I think they put his actual remains in the wax model. It's rather macabre, but anyway, if you go to the University of London, you too can take a picture of yourself with the auto icon. I think someone told me at some point that there's a webcam that you can view it at any time. I'm not entirely sure if that's still online, but if it is, let me know in the comments. So that was the one picture. This is what I would use in workshops to show people the difference between you seeing yourself and others seeing you. And the second picture that I took was one that a photographer who was a colleague at work took. And he took the picture when I was at my best, when I was chatting with someone we worked with, and he took a picture of me in the midst of me talking to someone. This to me represented the visual equivalent of the point this card tries to make in terms of calling on a friend. Because there are ways in which we see ourselves in which we alone see ourselves, like when you're taking a selfie. And there are ways in which others see us very differently. And I find that the way others see us when they're seeing us at our best is more helpful because it shows us when we're flourishing in a way that we can never see it. I feel like there's so many exercises out there that ask you to think about your strengths yourself. And I think that certainly there are in the Life's Potluck Buffet deck cards where you're asked to think about your strengths. I kind of try to go about that in a kind of side door way, just so that we can kind of more readily or easily obtain this information. You know, when someone asks you straight up, like, what are your strengths? You go blank. So these cards are a way of helping out with that. And some of them, like this card, number 33, are ones that completely go around that by asking someone else present. Again, someone who you trust. The point of this is not to see yourself through others' eyes in order to receive critique or change something about yourself because of the way others see you. It's really to embrace how other people see you and to embrace the possibilities of that, and also to accept yourself. This idea of talking to others is prevalent throughout the cards because it's a way of gaining self-understanding and also self-acceptance through the way others talk about your work and view your work. Now, this is by no means a simple thing, and that's why there are several cards dealing with it. In the case of card 33, you're in the position to be listening to other people's thoughts about you. And even if those thoughts are about good things like strengths, it's still sometimes hard for us to accept that. This I find is often the most difficult part of the calling on a friend, is when your friend tells you something where that's not what you want your strength to be. And that's fine, because that is not, it doesn't need to be. But accepting the fact that that's something out there that might be the case of how people perceive your strengths, I recommend embracing it. And if it's something new that you've never heard before, then it's even better, because when it's something new that you've never heard before, it's brand new information for you. And that's what we're always looking for in all the cards, is new information, is surprising information, is unexpected information. Or if something is not surprising, unexpected, or new, challenging yourself to think of it in a new way, understanding ways in which you have not processed what you were hearing before, even if it's something that you think, oh, well, people always say that. But this time, think about that in a wholly new way. Try to say, you could even say to your friend, well, I know people always say that about me, and I am interested in figuring out how I could think about that differently from the way that I've thought about it before. A good way to practice that is to ask your friend if they'd be willing to have you say what their strengths are, or a strength of theirs, so that you can help each other figure out new ways of looking at these strengths. And by understanding your friend's strengths and how you perceive them, and talking about how that differs from how they have perceived them in the past, etc., you can learn how to do the same in your case. And importantly, since this is a dialogue, your friend can help you, because they can say, oh, I know a way that I can think of to help you consider your strengths in a new light, even though they were the same things that you've heard before. Card number 33, like many cards in the deck, asks us to consider how other people think about our work and our strengths. The reason this is important is that other people are always the ones who are hiring, other people who are always the ones asking for your work. And by knowing what other people think about your work, you're learning a bit about where you might aim next, or where you might go. Because if your trusted friend sees this strength in you, odds are a lot of other people do too. If you like this card, then head on over to lifespotluck.com. And if you've liked this episode, please subscribe. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.
Know you've been a good friend, and that's in the thick and thin.